Hey, it's Sol with news, opinions, and analyses. It's Friday, so let's get started. The most recent PTR build was deployed as a release candidate, meaning that this build intends to be the final version of the patch that'll hit live servers. Blog posts have been appearing throughout the week going over what to look forward to once the Legion Systems patch is deployed, so we'll soon see how inaccurate I am by the time this video goes out. Past that, in the weeks leading up to Legion's launch, players will look forward to invasion events as well as a quest line that'll take players from their fateful encounter at the Broken Shore to different parts of the world. Details on the invasion events are linked in the description below. A lot of feedback has been coming out of the PTR forums about how Hellfire Citadel is doing with all the class and item changes. A zone-wide debuff was applied to compensate, but between the changes I mentioned as well as the inability to extend the camera out further than the default settings, some classes and roles are still struggling. The feedback coming in has recently been focused on the very high damage tanks are receiving. While that was on the mythic side of things, my personal testing on heroic sums up to warriors having really powerful absorbs at level 100 thanks to Ignore Pain. This is likely to affect groups performing heroic or mythic carries in some shape or form, but Blizzard's concern is probably more focused on fixing bugs and making the instance playable. Hi Nelia. Bye Nelia. If you're interested in looking at or submitting to the feedback forum, it's in the description below and unlike the beta forum, is accessible to all players. Blizzard and Dark Horse Comics released their next Legion comic entitled Highmountain, A Mountain Divided, and a link to the comment is below. I'm not quite feeling it with the redundancy in the title, but the comic itself has a similar feel to the Nightborn comic with regards to giving us some backstory in lieu of what we'll be experiencing in Legion gameplay. This has been an ongoing interest of mine to understand the Warcraft franchise and the multiple approaches Blizzard takes with its storytelling, through animations, comics, books, and of course its games. These stories could have been expressed through in-game or full-motion cinematics, but instead allows third-party authors and artists to express their vision. Anyway, go check it out. Closely related is the upcoming Harbingers short series that'll release as we get closer to Legion's launch. It's got a similar look and feel to the Lords of War series released ahead of Warlords of Draenor, so keep an eye out for that and look for the teaser link below for more. On July 14th, your best friend Lore brought in Jeremy Feasel to answer questions centered on World Quest content, including Legion invasions. Like Paul Cubitt, Jeremy may be a less familiar face to players, which I think is pretty refreshing, especially for those who are accustomed to calling out certain developers, like Ian, Brad, former developer Greg Street, and Celis Talon. There were some small insights as to the directions of World Quest and Legion, but largely there weren't any news bombs to be dropped. A link to the interview as well as a summary transcript is available in the link below. Our main topic today has been a pretty hot one, but hopefully I'm not too late to the party. More heat between superstars Taylor Swift. Blizzard announced a new mechanism designed to combat some of the more negative social experiences in-game, which they call a silence penalty. If penalized, players will basically be unable to proactively initiate conversations or personal interactions with other players not in their guild or friend list, but can still at least be on the receiving end. You can't whisper someone unless they whisper you first, and the default global chat channels will pretty much be considered read-only. The penalty will last for 24 hours and will double for each additional infraction. On top of that, there's no limit to the maximum penalty. We don't know if additional silences can be given while a player is already silenced, nor do we know if the penalty is lowered after a period of good behavior. Assuming this is multiplicative, a fifth infraction means 16 days of silence. The next means 32. Damn. So how is this going to work? The system will look at reports made by players that use the report function. Blizzard said they'd do an investigation and once that's done, take action, or no action. Players have quickly placed doubt on a system like this, insisting that these investigations will be automated and many infractions will be erroneously dealt. They pointed out scenarios where the system can be abused, that large groups of players can effectively brigade other users and keep them silenced indefinitely. Can this abuse happen? Absolutely. No system is perfect after all, but has Blizzard thought of these kinds of scenarios? Absolutely. Call it fanboyism, but I'm confident that Blizzard or any other company wouldn't launch this sort of initiative until they won over all these scenarios. So I'm going to do my own take and see how this system will work. I'll be using this webpage as a loose reference, it's pretty legit. The announcement said that reports under the spam or abuse categories will be subjected to silencing, so let's start with spam. Without a doubt, the vast majority of spam comes from bots. I'm sure you've seen lots of different messages using ASCII text, warped-looking words, symbols, and other stuff. This isn't just to make their spam stand out and get attention, but to throw off Blizzard's ability to easily detect spam automatically. It's one of the many reasons Blizzard relies on player reporting, which, thanks to add-ons, is better these days. As a PSA, go download Bad Boy. It's a really good anti-spam add-on. Link is below and it's pretty self-explanatory. Here's some speculation. Under the silent system, when enough players report spam to a certain user or an account, it's flagged by Blizzard. In this case, I think it's an automated system that runs a check and probably looks for certain keywords to identify it as a gray market seller. Words like gold, account, sale, stuff like that, but I'm sure it's a lot more robust than just keywords. If the system concludes it's a bot, silence can be immediately dealt out. If it can't confirm it's a bot though, then it'll go to a human to verify. Yeah, it's not what I'd call a full-on investigation, but I think it's a good idea to have an automated system that identifies its biggest spam offender, which is a different automated system. But what about people spam? What qualifies? Here you are, straight from Blizzard's page. It's the kind of stuff that people just don't really want to see. Can this reporting be abused through brigading? Maybe, but if there's a system similar to the one I described above, even a large number of reports wouldn't make a difference. Let's pretend I'm in trade chat and make it known that I'm a huge fan of Ashran, and I'm immediately reported by like 100 people for spam. I'll probably show up on someone's computer displaying my account name with the number of recent reports. The automated system determined that I'm not a bot because my Ashran comment was literally the only thing that I said. I'm just being brigaded on by all the Ashran haters. It's easy enough to look at my chat logs from there and determine if in fact I'm spamming, and I'm not. Maybe I'm trolling, but that's a different thing. Now for abuse, which seems to cover every other reporting option, from the quick commands we have access from our chat window to the tickets that can be submitted in-game or through the Battle.net website. Inappropriate language is easy to explain. Like, I know that there's a language filter, but don't think for a second that it's an excuse to walk the line on global chat. Let's pretend you fucked up on something and you just gotta let everyone in your LFR group know. If you literally typed in "you fucked up," even if it's bleeped out, we know exactly what you're saying. You can bet that if someone was offended or just wanted to be mean and silence you for swearing in instance chat, they'll be able to now, and you'll be entirely at fault. It doesn't matter if you say ass, or ass. You're just trying to be a smartass and you're gonna get what's coming to you. Abuse and harassment are defined by Blizzard, but individuals experience and tolerate this differently. I'm not going to teach a harassment course here, but I will just say have some common sense. Hopping into trade chat or a random pug means you're locking arms with a lot of people who don't know you've had traumatic experiences and are sensitive to hearing about sex acts. You might not know about the dad introducing his 10-year-old to the game he's been playing and forgot to switch off trade chat. It's not his fault for being there, it's your fault for talking mess. Same goes with people in your guild. They're your guild mates, but even though your guild guidelines are clear, Blizzard's guidelines supersede that. Just don't walk the line. Give your guildies and other players the same respect that you give yourself, and just in case, respect yourself more. So all in all, how will this affect the day-to-day for players? I think most players will still behave normally. They'll report things they don't like as usual, and maybe more players will do it because they feel a little bit more empowered. A few major social points will be affected though, including global chat channels and chat inside groups that are created with matchmaking tools. So think of random battlegrounds, LFD, LFR, that sort of stuff. These spaces may look a little bit more quiet. I also think that some of the more toxic players will have a choice to make, to decide whether their freedom to express is more important than playing the game normally. Maybe they'll have to redefine what normal is, or quit. Maybe someone will create and moderate a new global channel for silenced users. Maybe make a guild called 128 Days Later or something. Some players will likely try to abuse the system, or at least be overzealous with reporting every swear word or politically incorrect thing that they see. It could happen, but that's going to be something for Blizzard to wrestle with and tweak on their end. I look at all these players on forums carrying on, saying, "Oh, this system is going to be abused," and so on and so forth, but the way I see it, it's probably those players who pull this sort of crap, and are probably the reason why this system is coming in the first place. But the rest of players don't have to worry about anything because they don't infringe themselves in these public spaces. And people who've been watching this video but skip the main topic, they're probably the players who don't talk outside of their guild anyway, or barely talk at all. So this has no meaning to them whatsoever. Since I read from a script, I know my tone is here. I'm basically saying that we should be careful of what we say because anyone could be offended. That your freedom to express is being compromised by, dare I say, social justice. I've seen some reactions and I know how some will feel about my piece. People should just grow a spine, or leave trade, or just not play an online game where behavior like this is expected. But if you look at other games like League of Legends or Call of Duty or others, there's a certain level of toxicity there and it reflects badly on them. The behavior of the community is a large part of what defines those games, including WoW. Blizzard is about to set loose a potentially powerful tool to clean up chat, but until now it's been up to us, the players, to decide what the social atmosphere is going to be like. The creation of this system didn't come from nowhere. The worst groups of people led to this, so thanks. And that's the news. Thanks for coming. After 3 weeks, I'm feeling this format, and I think it's going to stay. I really want to see this channel continue to grow and even succeed, so your likes and subs really go a long way towards maybe expanding to other games and topics, or even making a living out of this. Anyway, thanks again, and I'll see you next week. I'm Soul. Stay breezy, guys.